Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself for those of you who don't know who I am. My name is Abby Smith, and I am a global top artist with Wella Professionals. So I'm Australian, and I currently base myself in Amsterdam. I've been living here for just over 2 years, and I absolutely adore it here. I've been hairdressing 25 years, and I have been a colourist for 17 years. So I actually started hairdressing, doing both cut and colour, and then after 8 years, I wanted to go to London, and I joined Tony and Guy. And when I joined Tony and Guy, they said, we only have colourist jobs, and I actually am a colourist because of my back, and a lot of people don't know about that. I actually have scoliosis in my back, a curvature in my spine. So I cut and coloured for 8 years, but it was kind of like a very big career decision that I had to make. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I do colour, and how my career has gone down an education route. So hey Pauline, hey Peter, I miss you and Raina. Oh, so much. I miss everyone. I miss being in the salon too, definitely. Okay, so at the moment, over my 25-year career, just want to touch on that I've been employed, I've been self-employed, I've rented chairs, and now I work on a freelance basis. So you can pretty much say I've done everything but own a salon. For me, it's just never been something that I wanted to do. I love to travel. I love being transient. I love kind of stepping outside my comfort zone and always, pushing myself and putting myself in new environments. I find that really inspiring. I think that keeps my drive, keeps me interested, keeps me thriving. Yeah, so that's what I've done previously with my career. I've also, my background, I've worked on consumers. I've worked on the salon floor for 25 years. I've also been in management, so I've managed technical teams for Tony and Guy and Hob Salons, which I'm going to talk about later. And then I've also been in the creative. So I've been on catwalk doing shows and more trend-led stuff. And I've also been in a corporate experience, which I'm going to talk about later, and also into the more product development side of things as well. So again, pretty much everything except owning a salon. So yeah, now I work freelance, and I've been freelance for 14 months. And I have 5 main contracts. So the first contract that I have is my own education company, which I started 14 months ago, Abby Smith Colour Education, which Susan is going to put my website link in the comments, which I've just updated last week. So loads of new content on there, which I'm very, very happy about. So I work in collaboration with Wella, Netherlands and Belgium. I can say it okay today. and I do education in the studio in the Netherlands and in Belgium, in Antwerp. And I also do in-salon education as well. So I go out into salons and teach people in their own environment as well. So my niche for my education is to help struggling hairdressers who are not quite sure how to keep up with social media trends. I think there's a real gap in the market in education. So where my education sits is, if you've done all of the courses in the Wella studio and you're wanting a little bit more. So my education kind of sits in between MCE and the Wella craft courses, definitely. And mine is very social media inspired imagery, and I'm mainly teaching my own techniques. That's something that I've always done, is I always take essence. I might see something and I always put my spin on it, but I have 3 signature techniques: my contour, my glow, and my boho luxe, which I'll talk about later in my presentation. My second contract, I work for a salon group in the Netherlands called Schenkels, and they have a total of about 20 salons. It's a franchise group. So I'm their technical director. So I do education in their academy in Delft. So I travel all throughout the Netherlands doing education. And also I teach in salon for that group as well. So I also work 2 days a week in Schenkels Amsterdam. And just to make sure my education keeps salon relativity, and I know what's happening in the market, just so I can keep an eye on things. And also my clients inspire me as well. Sorry, Susan, my computer's just gone off. There we go. Okay, cool. It's just so I can see Susan's comments. So yeah, I work 2 days a week in the salon, and currently I am a finalist for the Coiffure Awards, which is like the Netherlands, British hairdressing, is the equivalent to the British Hairdressing Awards but here. So I was a finalist this year, and I was a finalist last year. We were meant to have the finals 2 weeks ago, but because of the current times, it's been put off to September. So fingers crossed, everyone. So a little bit about my career. Oh, actually, no, I haven't finished at all. I'm still going through my jobs. Okay, so another job, what I do is I still go back to London every 6 weeks. So I have clients. I lived in London for 14 years that I'll talk about in a little bit. So I've still got clients that I've done for like 16 years. So I really enjoy going back every 6 weeks. And hey, Colin, and I loved your presentation the other day. And Jenny, I am wanting to bring my education out to other countries. Definitely, that's in the pipeline. That's what the goal is, to start taking my education everywhere. So yeah, I love traveling. I think everyone knows that. So yeah, I go to London every 6 weeks, and I actually work in a very new kind of working concept where it's a private studio called About This Place, and it's a rent a chair situation, and you pay £75 for the day, and I take my colour with me. It's a beautiful little space just next to Balance on Old Compton Street, and I really enjoy doing that. I love going to London every 6 weeks and looking at everyone and just seeing what the vibe is and seeing if there's any change in trends and things like that. I just love people watching, and especially in Soho, it's in the thick of everything. So my last job, what I do is I'm a global assessor for Master Colour Expert Online. So we've just finished the second cohort, which was a fantastic experience yet again. And the Master Colour Expert Online, if you are in a area where you do not have a Wella studio, this is fantastic for you. It's a lot of my students are from America. I think a lot of people don't realise that even America is so big that there's only 2 studios in the whole of America. So a lot of my students are from America. So it's really nice to hear everyone's stories from all over the world. And obviously I come from remote outback Australia. So I feel very passionate about this project. And you do have pretty much the same experience as in studio, and you get to talk to me or Caroline Curtis as your mentors once every 6 weeks. The experience is very, very similar, and also we've incorporated social media now into, hey Louise, social media into the course as well. So there's 3 modules, and every module you will be given content first. And there is a Facebook group where all of the mentorees can talk with each other if you have any questions, and also you have mastered support as well if you have any questions. So you never feel alone we're always here for you. And then at the end of your module, you will do an online multiple choice test. You will have to do a model assessment, which I will mark. And also you have to do the head block challenge as well. You're not going to get out of it lightly. You have to do the head block challenge as part of MCE. So if you are wanting to, give yourself inspiration and really push yourself out of your comfort zone, I would highly recommend doing MCE online. I'm going to talk about that in my career in a moment. It was meant to start in June, but because of the situation that we are in, it's been just put off slightly. And I believe that the next round will start in October, I think. So if you are interested, I can PM you the link. Just send me a private message. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my career. So I do come from a toning guy background, and I moved to London when I was 23 in 2003. And I guess when I moved to London, I always had a goal, and that was, when I was in Adelaide in my very, very early years, when I was a stylist, we would have toning guy tours come round, and I was like, I want to be that person on the stage. I want to be that person. And it might have taken 14 years to achieve that goal, but I'm going to tell you the journey now, how I achieved that goal. I moved to London in 2003, and throughout my time at Tony and Guy, I was mentored by Mr. Jason Gray, my Uncle JJ. So he's been my Uncle JJ since 2003, and it wasn't until I saw him at Mastercolour Congress just before I left London in 2016 that I realised how much Jason actually inspires me, and how I work. I hadn't seen him work on stage for quite a while, and just the penny dropped. I was like, wow, you moulded me, Jason. It's like such an honour that we are such good friends, my Uncle JJ. So I was in London for 5 years, and then I moved home. I lasted 5 months. I was bored, and then I moved back to London again. So I moved back in 2008, and that was the start of the credit crunch. And that's part of the reason why I'm going to be talking with you guys today. Is I thought it was really kind of a very relevant time to be talking about this and my experiences and what we did to get through that period, because it was a very, very hard time. And at that time I started at Hob Salons, and so I'd learnt the Tony and Guy approach to hair, and then I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and learn a more Sassoon inspired approach to hair. And at that point, Hob were winning all of the awards, so I wanted to go and work for them 100%. When I was working for Hob Salons, I was mentored by Christelle Lundquist, who she also had a Wella background. So I learned a lot of like Wella knowledge, inside knowledge, without having to do my MCE. But the thing was, I never really understood why. I would always say, you need to do it like this because Christelle said you have to do it like this, and this is the way you do it, so you do it that way. So I never really knew the reason why. And then when I went on to do MCE, which I'll talk about in a little bit, everything made sense. So if you're feeling that way and you're like, why do I do this? Why? MCE will answer all the questions. I've had so many of my students say this as well. So if you're in a mindset where you're feeling this way, it's time for you to get your MCE done. And also when I worked at Hob Salons, I learned a lot about business. I was managing my technical team. I learned a lot about upselling and really marketing, which I think is a really, really important now, about enticing our clients to come in again. So say, for example, we had, the recommend a friend cards, but also, what we thought was a fantastic idea was when haircut clients are coming in for their haircuts now, especially now, and offering and approaching haircut clients, giving them inspiration about suitability, what's happening in the trends, and which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and inspiring them to have colour, doing a skin test, and then giving, if you have it within the next 2 weeks, we will give you X amount off, to entice them to have colour, inspire them, and then offer them. And that was also really, really successful. We also found what was also really successful was a rebooking discount, like trying to get the frequency of their visits up per year. And I'm going to talk a lot about interim service today, because we are going to have big bills, definitely, but they're not always your bread and butter. And what really counts now is converting your haircut clients, your introduction to colour clients, and all of your smaller bills. I think that's the focus of what you should be concentrating on now, not full head foils and €400 bills or £400 bills. Our bread and butter now is all of the smaller glossings and partial highlights, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later. During my hob days, I entered Trendvision, and if you're wanting to feel inspired this year, I would highly recommend doing Trendvision, because you learn so much from Trendvision. I always dub Trendvision the pentathlon of hair competitions. So, you learn how to do photo shoots, finding a model, working under pressure, traveling, and mood boards, working simultaneously with a makeup artist, presenting, also understanding about the whole picture, marrying the hair with the clothes. I've had amazing experience with Trendvision, and Trendvision has been a massive stepping stone for my career in getting exposure, 100%. I've been an entrant. Hang on one second. Susan, if you're writing me messages, I'm not seeing them. Just giving you a heads up. Okay, so Trendvision. I entered in 2011, and I have a very, very funny story about my experience. So that was another skill. I mean, I'm a colorist now, and I had to learn how to blow dry under an hour. So there's just so many things that Trendvision just pushes yourself out of your comfort zone, working under pressure, but ultimately giving you massive exposure to the industry and consumers as well, if you are a winner. I've been an entrant, I've been a judge, I've done the Trendvision tours around the UK, shows at the UK Grand Final, and ultimately I've been a global mentor at the Creative Retreat in Lisbon, and I was absolutely gutted that unfortunately we had to reschedule Seville. So I was very much looking forward to that and seeing everyone. My little funny story is I was a finalist UK finalist in 2011, and I was so nervous that I actually knocked a whole bowl of Perfecton on the floor, because you have to do a pre-lightening and toning service in 3 hours. So everyone's running around, and you've got judges, really influential, figures in the British hairdressing scene, and you're completely overwhelmed. But I always say I'm the One Direction of Trendvision. I didn't win, but look at me now. But in actual fact, to be fair, I won bronze, but I was colouring for Luke Benson. So that was my experience. But I'm tremendous at making mood boards as well, and just the whole experience. It's a real career highlight. So in 2012, I went on to work for Darren Ambrose, and that's where my career really went into the next level. So Darren Ambrose is a global artist for Wella Professionals, and he also won British Hairdresser of the Year when I was working with him. And when I went to work for Darren, it was a fantastic time for me because obviously I had the Tony Guy background, and I am normally a perfecton queen, Andrew, but not on that day because my hands were doing this. And then the next thing, the perfecton was on the floor. So when I went to work for Darren, I really learnt about colouring wefts and really seeing hair as a canvas as such, and how can we warp and manipulate and, move the hair, and, can we apply, colour with sprays and sponges, and why are we just using tint brushes? What else can we use? We are artists in a way. So we were really super creative, and he just kind of gave me free rein. So it was just kind of like my moment of like everything made sense, and we just bounce off each other. I absolutely adore collaborating with Darren Ambrose. We just bounce off each other so well in terms of creativity. And also when I went to work for Darren, he said, you've got to do MCE, and I was like, bring it on. So off I went and did my MCE, and after that my career just went like this. And so we were doing the trendvision tours, and we were invited to do our first, my first global campaign, which was Borderline Beauty in 2014. So we went off to Hamburg, and we were prepping in the disused old airport of Hamburg, and that was an amazing experience. And then we went on to do the UK Grand Final tour for Trendvision with the Borderline Beauty. We did the IME, True Colours. They were the main ones that we did. So but I think the reason why, we did so many campaigns is that what me and Darren did as a brand, and what, we really understood what Wella was as a brand. And I absolutely, again, adore collaborating with Rainer Sauter as well. So, the three of us together, magic always happens, that's for sure. Okay. So then in 2015, I was a finalist for British Colourist of the Year. And then in 2016, I kind of started to see a shift in social media taking over, really. And I felt a little bit disheartened to enter competitions, because almost like the focus was more so on how many likes and how many followers you have, not about what awards you've won and how much money you've spent in doing all of these shoots. So that was around the time I moved to Munich, and this was a really eye-opening experience for me, because I was a master colour expert working in Munich. And as an example, if you are in a remote area, that this is the power of your skill. Hey Suze, hey Amber. So I would have new clients coming in, and it's just what you used to say is like, so how did you find out about the salon? And I had so many comments of people saying, I literally googled best hair colorist Munich, and your salon came up, and then your face is on the website, and I wanted you to do my hair. I can't tell you how many people used to say that, and I was like, wow, the power of Google. But also, if you are in a remote area, I really emphasize this with my MCE students, is to really have a good understanding of how to promote yourself on social media, because this is just so important now to promote yourself and get yourself out there. So I was in Munich for a year, and then I was invited to go and work in the global headquarters in Geneva, Wella Professionals. So I was there on a short-term contract, and I was working, my mentor was Caroline Curtis, who she was the head of global innovations for Coty. And this woman is such an inspiration. And it was actually her idea to start the MCE online project, and she ran it by me. She said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think that's an amazing idea." So I'm really, really honoured. Now it's come into fruition that we are the two main mentors of the program. So I also did a little bit about trends and a little bit about product innovation. So it was so nice to see the other day that Blondor is coming out with Wellaplex inside of it. That was a little idea of mine. Wouldn't that be so nice? So when I start to see these little things coming through, I'm like, oh, and also one of my other main projects was the Colour Fresh Create campaign. So I worked with Julie Lepeat on that one. And so I had to do a lot of like trend research on that, and kind of ran it by Julie and Rainer and said, look, I think colour melting is a good avenue to go down, and this is what's happening in the market, and because we really wanted to have. Oh, I miss you too, Toby. They were good days, huh? Especially the campaigns in Hamburg. They were the fun ones, yeah. The Colour Fresh Create, I helped pick the model, and obviously it was my technique and everything. So it's definitely a super proud moment of mine. It's about the MCE program, and whenever I see the Colour Fresh Create campaign all over the world, I'm like, that was mine. Okay, so on to today's agenda. So I'm going to talk a little bit about post-quarantine hair and current quarantine hair. What can we do when our doors open? I'm going to give you a little bit of inspiration of what we can offer our clients, and a little bit about trends as well. So first of all, I'm going to talk about hair colour and quarantine and clients at home. So I know this is like a very, very super difficult time, and I have advised all of my clients not to touch their hair. Part of the reason why I'm wearing a hat is that I haven't had my hair cut. I had my hair cut in London last time. Like, this is normally an undercut. I've not had my hair cut in 10 weeks. I'm just putting it out there. So please forgive me for me constantly wearing a hat. But there is a reason for that. I'm getting a mullet now. Maybe I should just keep growing it. What do you think, everyone? Should I have a little wispy number on the back of my neck? Or shall I chop it off again? Because if I chop it off again, I'm going to chop my colour out. Things that we have to think about, huh? Uh-oh. Okay, sorry, my computer's doing off again. Okay. So, initially I advised all of my clients not to touch their hair. But now I'm unfortunately seeing photos of my clients going, look at my grey hair, my greys. And it's, you can tell it's really getting them down, and that's also killing you as well, because you're like, what do I do? I'm in such a rock and a hard place. And obviously we don't want them using box colours either. So what I would highly recommend is that Wella have launched their Love Your Hair kits, which includes the Colour Fresh and shampoo and conditioner. If you haven't heard about it, it's on the Wella Instagram, or see your rep, talk to your rep. And can I just say a big thank you to Wella, Netherlands and Belgium for reaching out to me when the quarantine hit and asked if I was okay and if I needed anything, because I'm here on my own. So that was really, really sweet of Wella looking after me. Thank you. So ultimately, as professionals, what we should be doing, I know it's really hard, but I would highly recommend that you only recommend retail at this point. Colour Fresh, if people are blonde, maybe recommend to tone the ends down so they're more creamy or beigeier, so they blend with the natural. Luckily in the Netherlands, the natural base is a translucent 7/0, so they're really, really lucky. But I would recommend toning down the ends to match with the root, rather than trying to do any form of lightning or a colistin at home. We also, if you have clients with grey hair, I mean, if they have to go, thank you, Anna, well, love. I would highly recommend, if they need to go grocery shopping or if they need to see their friends, you have the Insta Recharge as well. And don't forget as well that, Colour Fresh, it does come in an applicator bottle, but don't forget you can apply it with brush and bowl too. So, they can have a much more saturated coverage rather than foaming it up. If you foam it up, it softens the strength as such. So if they are wanting to blend greys, I would highly recommend giving them a bowl and a tint brush, and being a little bit more precise. Or if they have a loved one at home that can help them do that, I would recommend to do that and then leave it on for full development time. So don't forget that, we have the base shades in Colour Fresh as well as your beautiful, 10 level golds, 10/36, 10/39 I love. You've got 8/03 as well. So some really beautiful golden shades coming into spring, summer, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So yeah, I mean, don't forget, we've also got Colour Recharge. So I mean, if we have clients that, have big roots and blonde ends, why don't they play around? I use the warm red. Colour Recharge makes my hair go peachy. We haven't got work to go to, so let's be experimental during this time. And pastels are super complementing onto the skin as well. And also my go-to is the red in Colour Recharge. Red in Colour Recharge makes your hair go like that salmony kind of pink. And don't also forget that you can intermix your Colour Fresh as well. You could use O/6 as your clear, and you could use a copper 7/47, I think there is, or a red. Just make the ratio 3/4 to 1/4, or however strong you want to make it, and they can apply that with a brush or bowl, or in the bottle as well. So just food for thought. But I mean, as professionals, we really should not be selling professional colour at home, because so much could go wrong. So getting it in the eyes, overlapping, skin reaction, and ultimately we really don't want to be dealing with breakage. Andrew, I absolutely adore Colour Recharge, and one of the reasons why is it makes my hair feel so good. Amber, what do you think about Colour Fresh 10/36 with zero stroke 6? Okay. Or do you mean to mix that with relights, or both with Colour Fresh? Let me know. I'm a bit delayed from you, and then I can let you know what I think about that. Also, another food for thought, if you are recommending colour in the boxes, they know what colour their colour is, and we are, potentially entering into an economic downturn. So if they may not have a chance to get into the salons, so they know what their colour is, which is obviously not ideal as well. If you happen to be putting your colour in a pot for your client, it's obviously not ideal, because once the colour comes out of the tube and the Willoxan comes out of the bottle, it is oxidising. So there is quite a lot to think about. So ideally, I'm just making everyone aware. as an example, I don't even try to colour my hair, let alone someone that's not a hairdresser. So yeah, you can see in my body language how stressed I am about this. But ultimately, I'm not a salon owner, and I understand your predicament also. But I think honestly, your best bet is to work with the Love Your Hair kit and the Insta Recharge, 100%. Amber Saft, both with Colour Fresh. Okay, so if you were going to do O stroke 6 with 10 stroke 3/6, you can, but the O stroke 6 will reduce the gold. So it kind of it would be a brighter, more neutral effect. But yeah, you can totally intermix them if you want to. Okay. I'm just going to touch on now about my credit crunch experience of my time in Hob salons. Wanted to just talk about my experience in working through an economic downturn and gaining a clientele during this time. And I have to give a shout out to Clive Collins at Hob Salons, who helped me through this time, because it was not easy. And even still to this day, he has two courses called How to Build Your Column at Hob Academy, and he also has a new one called Successful Salon Business as well. But if you are an emerging stylist, I cannot recommend How to Build Your Column. In my experience, it was incredibly impactful for me. And I'm going to let you in on a few little things that I still use today in my day-to-day. So I think what we really need to be focusing on now is more than ever is consultation. And consultation not being what are we doing today, because they don't know what they want. And it's down to us to recommend. But what I highly recommend, how I open my consultations, is how do you feel? How do you feel? Like, okay, and it's all about your 3 C's: cut, colour, and condition. How do you feel about your colour? And at the moment, they will tell us how they feel. They really, really will. And we have to be there for them. How do you feel about your haircut? And then the third one that I think gets massively overlooked, and which may be a great avenue for you, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, is how do you feel about your condition? We're coming into spring, summer now. So they may not be having colour, but they can have treatments. And, I think this is what we really need to focus on at the moment when we do reopen. Yes, we will have colour corrections, 100%. But I think we really need to focus on more partial packages. And I'm going to talk about that in trends. But also treatment packages, treatment and blow dry. They want to feel good, So I will talk about that a little bit as well. So the thing is, if you open up your consultation with how do you feel about your cut, colour and condition, they will tell you their problems. And then what you should do is find a solution to solve those problems. If you are solving the problem that they hate about their hair, they will buy it. 100%. This is my secret. If you recommend something that they don't need, they will not buy it. And the thing is now, people will only buy things that are essential. If it's something that's going to make them happy, they will buy it. To a degree, they won't care how much it costs, to a degree. But the thing is, you're solving a problem that they don't like. And that's a massive difference to you taking a stab in the dark going, oh, well, this is so-and-so. And oh, they won't be interested because they won't have the money to spend. So that's the big one that I wanted to just really inspire you with, to kind of think outside the box of how you can change your consultation and explore all the avenues of their experience, not just colour as well. So now is a really good time for us to study and refresh our memory about colour care as well. What else? So yeah, you can maximise on the 3 C's. Okay, and then on to dealing with budgets. Okay, so let me tell you, we were in the middle of the credit crunch and we would have people coming in and bartering the prices. So that was a very, very unique experience. But what I'm going to talk about is us being prepared. And in 2008, that was actually the start of the balayage era because people couldn't afford to come get their hair done. So what I was finding is that we have to be flexible with them. You know, they might start to stretch out their highlight appointments, but we need to maybe offer them an interim toner service, which I'm going to talk about in a bit, to lure them back in between that 4-month period perhaps. So we're kind of not tricking them in a way. We're thinking cleverly of how to get them back in and get the frequency of their visits back up again. Instead of 3 times a year, they're coming in for toners in between, you know, on the 6 to 8 week mark, and then a highlighting service afterwards. So what I was finding is that, you know, I used to have clients that were full head, and then in terms of highlighting, I would have to do, and even still to this day, I still work in this way, unless they want to be, you know, a pure platinum girl. I would do full head, partial, half, and then a full head. And that's a year's worth of foils, basically. I find I would do a full head at the start of summer, and then again at Christmas, because we have winter at Christmas. So so it might be the opposite way around if you're in Australia. I mean, 2008 was the start of the balayage era and more lived in roots. And I mean, the best advice I can give is if you are faced with highlighting clients that want to start to tone down their blonde, is that the majority of the time I use Colour Touch to do root stretching. It's only really if clients have grey hair that I would go for collagen, because we will now be living in a very transient world and a more lower maintenance. So we have to be clever about what we are going to tone down with. So if you are in that predicament and you do need to tone down and stretch out highlighted roots, maybe with a dimensional blonde where you're doing low lights as well and utilising the existing blonde, is that I would highly recommend that you use Colour Touch. Just to save yourself for any future colour correction work. And that's the thing, we're also coming into spring, summer, so I'm just finding that the Colour Touch just fades out super beautiful, and then there's a lot less of a demarcation line when the colour does grow out. So also now is a perfect time for us to really focus on glossing services. And don't also forget that you have a crystal gloss service in Colour Touch. So you can actually mix 1 to 3 with Colour Touch as well as 1 to 2. So if you do mix it 1 to 3, it will look more what I call translucent, more shimmering and lighter. So example, an introduction to colour client, the hair will be smoother and shinier. And I mean, how many times do we hear clients say, "Oh, I'm growing my hair. Oh, I'm growing my hair. Oh, I'm growing my hair. Oh, I'm just growing it. I'm growing it." Yeah. Food for thought. Maybe the thing is now it's a real time for us to entice our clients to have packages. If a client looks at a price list, they don't know what they want. It's up to us to paint the picture for them in a way. So that they go, "Oh, I want that one. Oh, I want that one. Can I have that one?" My recommendations I would give, which I'm going to talk about the partial highlighting techniques in a minute, but you could have a glossing service and blow dry package and put X price on it. And then what you can also do is create imagery on your social media and have a from price. Just as an example, because we all know now our Instagram is our shop window. So just another inspiration for you. Then have another package with a glossing or a toner with Wella. So that's for your blondes, and I'm growing my hair clients. So they can potentially have a glossing or a toner every 6 to 8 weeks. Think about interim services to lure your clients in that aren't going to be big bills, and that is your niche when we reopen, definitely. Then moving on. Okay, moving on to inspiring our clients. So in the consultation, we understand what is the problem. How do you feel about your cut, colour and condition? We listen to their problem. Let's take on board what they're saying. But then we also need to start thinking about what we can recommend them when they're telling us the information of what they're not happy with. And the things of what we really need to consider now is season and suitability. So obviously we are coming into spring, summer. So for me, I think the emphasis is on shine and translucency in the hair. So that would be, partial highlighting techniques. So what I would highly recommend is contour and partial highlight packages. So the thing is, with trends, there's always a progression from last year. And what I was doing last year was my contour, baby lights with a lived-in root. So I think the progression this year, what I'm seeing when I went to London especially, is that we are getting a lot stronger on that face frame, and maybe taking slightly heavier weaves and having it blonde from the root and not a lived-in feeling, because they're going to get that in a month's time. What's really interesting is I was talking with a client and they were explaining to me that in Dutch the selfie translates into a business card, and I was like, that's actually quite true. And in a way, today is, the selfie is our business card. It's our image, isn't it? And I think what you will be finding is that clients will want to be doing these partial highlighting techniques, and also these are great for introduction to colour clients as well, is that in my experience with the Credit Crunch, is that if they are blonde when they look in the mirror, they're super happy. And, if they have to sacrifice anything, I don't care what it looks like in the back, just so long as I look like I'm blonde in the front. And when I tie my hair back, I'm blonde, So, this is going to be the thought process of your clients. So if you are already on the ball about this, so you could have a contour package, and then if they really want a little bit of volume for the roots on the part line as well, you could also do a partial package. So food for thought. But now's a really good time to be using so isn't it awesome? Our selfie is our business card. And also, as Daniel Couch said the other day, party in the front, business in the back. But also, I was doing some overlooking of trends last night, and what was really interesting is that it was very, very fine shimmers last year, and now it's going into the money piece, which is a much more stronger face frame. And even to the point where I've done on a friend of mine, I'm calling it a contrast contour, where I'm actually bleaching the front hairline, and she wears her hair on the side, so I do a V. So if she wears it on the side, she's blonde. If she wears it in the middle, she's got an inch of blonde, and then she's brunette. So if she wears it in the middle, she's brunette, but if she wears it to either side, she's blonde. So that's the extreme push of the money piece. But I would 100% recommend making a package which includes a money piece and putting that all over your social media, because that is, for me, I think that will be the trend of spring summer 2020. And I would recommend, if you are wanting to keep the costs down in your package price, maybe look into toning with Colour Fresh instead of Colour Touch. just an idea for you to keep your package prices down. And, maybe it includes a retail as well, so that they can top up the tone, or maybe it includes a colour recharge, so that the tone doesn't revert back to the pure undertone, once it has faded. Ultimately, we have to paint the picture for them. We have to entice them to come in with visuals. So that's something that we can be thinking about during this time before we reopen again, and inspiring our clients to come in. Okay, so... Oh, another thing. If you are wanting to have a play around with mood boards that you can then obviously put on your social media, I'm going to quickly talk about... I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to quickly talk about some trending colours afterwards. So you can maybe play around on your phones, on your iPads. I would highly recommend an app called Plotboard. One of my MCE students told me about it, and all of my MCE students were using it. So, maybe you can use this time to inspire yourself, create a Pinterest page that you can do your consultations on in the salon, really impress your clients with your consultation. And ultimately you can be putting your mood boards on your Instagram as well, with your trending tones, which I'm going to talk about now. So if you are wanting inspiration about your trends for 2020, I would highly recommend that you go to the Wella website and get on the Wella blog, because I was on there last night, and I tell you what, I am inspired. So I personally thought all of these tones could be with Colour Fresh. So in the warm colour palette for blondes, buttery blonde, creamy blonde, vanilla blonde, natural blonde, which is obviously more beigeier, and toffee blonde. And then within the colour touch, you have your mushroom blonde, like a 9/16 with 7/75. Beautiful. It's my go-to for mushroom. Don't forget, we've got the classic blue, lavender hair, rose gold, ash blonde. I mean, I tone with colour touch all the time, I have to say, especially over highlighted hair. We have the pearl blonde, the peach blonde, bubblegum, peach cobbler. And then in the brunettes, we have vintage blush, super nice in the Colour Fresh Create. Mocha, caramel hair, sunset blonde, chestnut hair, amber, iridescent brunette, peanut butter, caramel brown, golden brown, dark copper, and ginger kiss. I'm inspired. So if you like, I literally just went on Wella blog and had a look, and also flick through the Wella Instagram as well if you are wanting. I love toffee too. It's a go-to, isn't it, Andrew? So if you are wanting inspiration for tones, Wella blog has it covered, and the Instagram I would highly recommend. And also, if you go on the Wella website, you can also do an Instagram masterclass. So if you're wanting to get inspiration about your social media, we can definitely use this time to up our skills, because we are not social media gurus. We're hairdressers. And that is me. We've got 2 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions, fire away. Fire away. Let's have a look. I'm going to have a flick through all the messages. Sorry, I was on my tangents. Okay, so let's have a look. It is fun, Yvonne, isn't it? We should do this a lot more often. I did say this to Susan initially. We should do this all the time, because it's just connecting everyone, and we're in a real community, and we're all getting to know each other. I think it's great. And Plotboard, guys, it's an app. You get it in App Store, and it's a mood board app. So you can screenshot your shots off of Pinterest, and then you just make a mood board on the app called Plotboard. Sorry about that. Didn't explain myself. Good thing I looked at the questions. What else? Okay. Jenny, best mentor ever. Thank you so much, sweetheart. It was my pleasure. Okay, let's take a look. Okay. Oh, hey, Stuart. I think that's... Chantel, I hope you haven't burnt your house down. You know you can rewatch the videos. Oh, bless you. Susan, yes, if you are focusing on partial colour, you can ultimately book more clients in. So rather than having big, massive appointments, you have tiny, small appointments back to back, and you ultimately are making more... you're going to make money with smaller services rather than trying to big services. So it is quite lucrative to focus on these service packages right now, and especially for interim services. So obviously we're all going to get our 3 to 4 month clients. We're going to be faced with really large regrowths as well. So we are going to be faced with our larger appointments. But if you have stylists that are less busy, you're booking these appointments in with your less busy stylists, and getting them busy with smaller services and getting them to introduce themselves to those clients. So it could snowball into other services. Which conditioning treatment would you recommend? Treatment, for me, is Wellaplex. Definitely so. And also, don't forget, we have the rebuild service, the standalone treatment as well. This is fantastic for bleach blondes. So, as another example, I have a client who she has back-to-back bleach foils, and what she will do is she will come and get her full head foils, and then she'll come in for a rebuild standalone treatment with Wellaplex. Then she will come in for a toner with Colour Touch and Wellaplex. Then she will come in for a Wellaplex standalone, and then she has her foils again. So these are like a month apart or something like that. So, you're filling in the gaps within the 3 months, and you're cleverly enticing your clients to come back in between that 3 month period and keep the frequency going of their visits. So rather than it being 3 visits a year, it's ultimately like 8 without them realising. So I would highly recommend Wellaplex 100% as a treatment. My go-to formula for mushroom was, pen and paper guys, Colour Touch, 9/16 and 7/75. And then if you want to make it, so in terms of ratio, it depends how dark you want it. So you could start off, I normally do to be fair, you need to get the undertone 2 levels lighter. So it depends if you want it cool or warm. If you want it on the cooler, so if you wanted it on an 8 level, you would need to lighten the undertone to a 9 level. You need to remove the underlying warmth. And then as an example, you could do 15 grams of 9/16, 5 grams of 7/75. And if you wanted to have a little bit more rose, I would put a couple of grams of 5/5 in Colour Touch. That with 1.9%, 1 to 2. I will answer any questions on MCE after my presentation, and I think Susan's given me the go ahead. And I'm just going to have a quick look through. Cool. Okay, what else? Yeah, I think that's everything. So hopefully I get to do this again. I really enjoyed it. It was really nice to connect everyone. and inspire you with my life. But yeah, it's been my absolute pleasure. And hopefully we will do this again. And I think we should do this more often and keep us all connected and inspire each other, because I was super inspired by listening to Colin the other day, and I listened to Robert yesterday, Robert Eaton. So I think it's a really nice way to inspire us, keep us all connected. So I hope that everyone stays safe. I hope all your families are safe. Sending big love, Wella love to all my Wella family. Love you all. And let's hope that we can get back to normal as soon as possible. And when we do, we know what to do, guys, don't we? So now you can use this time, watch this video over again. That's what I would highly recommend for you to do. Just focus on your smaller services. Try and convert your haircut clients, even with simple glossing services, because even that's revenue growth. If you've converted one haircut to having a gloss, that's growth. And if you do that how many times a day, well, that's a lot of growth. So food for thought for you, and then make it your own. So they're just some ideas of mine, but I think personally 2020 is all about the money piece after quarantine life. Definitely so. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and I'll hopefully see you all soon.